أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله فاتر السماوات والأرض جاعل الملائكة رسلا أولي أجنحة مثنى وثلاثا ورباء يزيد في الخلق ما يشاء إن الله على كل شيء قدير. ما يفتح الله للناس من رحمة فلا ممسك لها وما يمسك فلا مرسل له من بعده وهو العزيز الحكيم. يا أيها الناس اذكروا نعمة الله عليكم هل من خالق غير الله يرزقكم من السماء والأرض لا إله إلا هو فأنى تؤفكون. وإن يكذبوك فقد كذبت رسل من قبلك وإلى الله ترجع الأمور. يا أيها الناس إن وعد الله حق يا أيها الناس إن وعد الله حق فلا تغرنكم الحياة الدنيا ولا يغرنكم بالله الغرور. إن الشيطان لكم عدو فاتخذوه عدوا إنما يدعو حزبه ليكونوا من أصحاب السعير. إنما يدعو حزبه ليكونوا من أصحاب السعير. الذين كفروا لهم عذاب شديد الذين كفروا لهم عذاب شديد والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لهم مغفرة وأجر كبير. أفمن زين له سوء عمله فرآه حسنا فإن الله يضل من يشاء ويهدي من يشاء فإن الله يضل من يشاء ويهدي من يشاء فلا تذهب نفسك عليهم حسرات إن الله عليم بما يصنعون. والله الذي أرسل الرياح فتثير سحابا فسقناه إلى بلد ميت. والله الذي أرسل الرياح فتثير سحابا فسقناه إلى بلد ميت فأحيينا به الأرض بعد موتها كذلك النشور. من كان يريد العزة فلله العزة جميعا من كان يريد العزة فلله العزة جميعا إليه يسعد الكلم الطيب والعمل الصالح يرفعه والذين يمكرون السيئات لهم عذاب شديد ومكر أولئك هو يبور صدق الله العلي العظيم. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Tonight, immediately after Majalis, there will be an extended Matam program with 4 Matam reciters. Everyone is requested to attend. Tomorrow, Sunday, 10th February, we shall have the Chalis wal Majlis for the Runa Thawab of Mahuma Kulsum by Fazl Visram, Mahum Sultan Ali Datu, and the Barmasi of Mahuma Sharon by Hyderi Datu. The program will begin at 12:21 p.m. with Zohrain Jamaat Namaz, Surah Yasin, a Majalis by Syed Mahdi Modarassi, ending with Niyaz. Dua Shafa is requested for all the Marid, including Brother Feroz Bandali, Brother Afzal Hussein Akbar Ali, Sister Amina Haider Ali, a 2-year-old child who is undergoing treatment, Sister Zarabai, wife of Brother Jafar Bai Qasim, Brother Akil Molu, Sister Khurshid Muhammad Hussein Nasser, Brother Ahsan Khatu, Sister Sakina Shah, Brother Shaban Ali Jafar, and Kul Mu'mineen who are either unwell or suffering tonight. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء 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 أما يجيب ويكشف السوء. اللهم صل على Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Surah Fatiha is requested for all the names will be appearing on the screens, their deceased family members, as well as all marhumin who have departed this world. Suratul Mubarakatil Fatiha. Can we please invite Brother Ahmed Gokul from Ahl Bayt TV to give a short presentation. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
تأجيل ظهور إمام زمانہ بلندر صلوات. تعمیل حکم مولا عباس کے حوالے سے مناجات کے چند اشعار پیش خدمت ہے. ایک اور صلوات پڑھ دیجئے محمد و آل محمد پر. سقائے حرم رکھ لے نہ بھرم ہم در پہ تمہارے آئے ہیں. سب مل کے پڑھیں. عباس عباس یا ابوالفضل العباس. بڑا انداز سے. عباس عباس یا ابوالفضل اب سارے سہارے ٹوٹ چکے ہمیں اپنے پرائے لوٹ چکے. اب سارے سہارے ٹوٹ چکے ہمیں اپنے پرائے لوٹ چکے. تم اپنی پناہوں میں لے لو تم اپنی پناہوں میں لے لو ہم غم سے بہت گھبرائے ہیں. سقائے حرم رکھ لے نہ بھرم ہم در پہ تمہارے آئے ہیں. عباس عباس یا ابوالفضل اشکوں کی زبان پہچانتے ہو جو دل میں ہے وہ بھی جانتے ہو. اشکوں کی زبان پہچانتے ہو جو دل میں ہے وہ بھی جانتے ہو. ہم کہہ نہیں سکتے تم سن لو ہم کہہ نہیں سکتے تم سن لو بس ہاتھوں کو پھیلائے ہیں. عباس عباس یا ابوالفضل اور مولا تم باب ہوائج ہو روزے پہ انہیں بھی بلوا لو. مولا تم باب ہوائج ہو روزے پہ انہیں بھی بلوا لو. غربت کے سبب جو آ نہ سکے غربت کے سبب جو آ نہ سکے ہم ان کے عریضے لائے ہیں. عباس عباس یا ابوالفضل اور دربار سخی عباس کا تھا دربار سخی عباس کا تھا جو مانگنا تھا وہ مانگ لیا. لیکن یہ حقیقت بھی ہے قمر ہم پرسا دینے آئے ہیں. عباس عباس یا ابوالفضل العباس. سقائے حرم رکھ لے نہ بھرم ہم در پہ تمہارے آئے ہیں. محمد وآل محمد صلوات.
صلی علی محمد وآل محمد.
سورة المباركة الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. My dearest respected scholars, elders, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'd firstly like to offer my deepest and most sincere condolences to you all on the demise, the shahadat of Sayyidah Fatimah al-Zahra, salamullahi alayha. Brothers and sisters, every year we gather here in these centers to commemorate the life and also the death of this lady, this pure lady, Sayyidah Fatimah al-Zahra. But I ask the question, why do we attend? Do we attend a majlis to take but not to give? And by give, I don't mean giving back in this setting, these seated environments, but rather to take the message of Sayyidah Fatimah al-Zahra, who we embody as a pillar of righteousness, humanitarianism and justice, and give back to wider society. When we step out of the centers, we are plagued in a world in which we see to be corrupted in some way, shape or form. Corrupted in our own streets, where there are people living on the streets in such weather, homelessness rampant in what's meant to be one of the most cosmopolitan cities on the face of the earth. Beyond this, I'm sure many of you are aware, our young children in schools are faced with what's known as RSE, relationships and sex education, an issue which is really coming to light within our Muslim community. The rise of atheism and agnosticism, where our youth are feeling cultural and religious identity challenges on a day-to-day basis. The rise of hardline feminism, where our sisters are questioned as to why they wear the hijab. Why do they succumb to the oppression of the male Muslim? Brothers and sisters, I believe in such a sensationalist, secularized world, the duty is on you and I to answer the questions and not just to ask them. And for this reason, brothers and sisters, I believe that media is a powerful means to answer such questions. We need an alternative, realistic form of media, one which not only promotes truth, but also the values of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam in this world. That is why I'm here in front of you today. I will be very quick with your permission, but Ahlul Bayt TV, as you may recall, visited this center, the Hyderi Centre, 10 years ago upon its inception. And this community very warmly welcomed Ahlul Bayt TV as the first center to ever accommodate the new organization at the time. And since then, brothers and sisters, Ahlul Bayt TV has been able to reach tens of millions every single year. The average viewership over the last couple of years has hit 17 million people worldwide, watching on all different platforms and different means, be they digital or broadcast. And we aim to address issues, brothers and sisters, issues like the ones we have just discussed, issues which concern you and I, where Muslims around the world, where there are minimal Islamic populations, for example in Malaysia, where it is illegal to practice Shia Islam in 11 out of 14 provinces, where you are imprisoned for having a turba or holding a majlis, or for example in parts of South America, where there is no Islamic community. These people gather around the television and watch this channel which you have supported for so many years, and with your support has allowed it to grow to the heights in which it has. But let me not dwell, brothers and sisters. The reason why I'm here is because we are also approaching our 10-year anniversary. Ahlul Bayt TV, inshallah, in the coming years, looks to digitalize its contents, looks to appeal to a wider audience, looks to address issues which not just affect you and I, but also the wider community. Issues which we are asking on a day-to-day basis on news channels and not just within our own centers. And inshallah, brothers and sisters, with your own support, we can reach our fullest potential. We are a channel which is community-orientated. We are not supported by any particular agenda or organization. We aim to be non-partisan in that respect. And as such, inshallah, we rely on the community to support us back. We will have a stall at the back for the brother side, inshallah, myself and a brother, Muhammad, who's a keen volunteer for the channel. He has been so for 6 or 7 years. And Sister Zainab, who's in the sister side and also a hard-working volunteer for Ahlul Bayt TV, will be there to answer questions, any questions you may have. We'll be able to allow you to support the channel, be it on a small-scale monthly basis, a khums donation, a business initiative, which you'd like to work with the channel upon. So inshallah, I look forward to seeing you. Just a final thought before I leave you. A respected scholar once said to us, he said, when you die, the angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come to you and they say, Ahmed, you have lived your life. Time's up. And we know, of course, in the Holy Quran, Allah says that we will be begging for a day back on earth, or even if not a day, half a day, to give zakat and charity. But the angels of Allah will say to you, you have died and you have lived your life. And these are the deeds you have accumulated for the goodness you have done. The salah, the hajj, the psalm, and so on. And these are the bad deeds you have accumulated. The lying, the stealing, and the cheating. But here is a particular deed you have been given for the mosque you've built in Mexico. I'm thinking, hold on, I haven't built a mosque in Mexico. I haven't even been to Mexico. But the angel of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, no, you did not, and no, you have not. But you contributed towards a project which inspired a man in a remote part of the world to start a Husayniyah for the Ahlul Bayt, alayhim as-salam. And you contributed towards a project which inspired a man in the Far East Asia to give blood to save a human life. And you contributed towards a project which inspired a man in New York City to start a campaign for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. Brothers and sisters, this is the power of media. This is the power of Sadqa Jariyah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And of course we thank and we welcome dear respected Syed Mahdi al-Modarassi, as we know is the co-founder of Ahlul Bayt TV along with Al-Hajj, Amir Taki, and we thank them for their continuous support. But I ask you once more, brothers and sisters, on this evening, make Sayyidah Fatimah Zahra proud for you. Make Sayyidah Fatimah Zahra welcome you on Yawm al-Qiyamah as one of the Shia, one of the believers and one of the followers of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. I thank you for your time. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Fatimah Zahra, Fatimah Zahra, Fatimah Zahra, Fatimah Zahra, Fatimah Zahra, Fatimah Zahra. बेकसी है गम ही गम है फातिमा ज़हरा के बाद बेकसी है गम ही गम है फातिमा ज़हरा के बाद जिंदगी की आँख नम है जिंदगी की आँख नम है फातिमा ज़हरा के बाद बेकसी है गम ही गम है फातिमा ज़हरा के बाद रो रहा है दिल को थामे शेर यज़दा साजरी रो रहा है दिल को थामे शेर यज़दा साजरी थम गया सीने में दम है थम गया सीने में दम है फातिमा ज़हरा के बाद फातिमा ज़हरा फातिमा ज़हरा फातिमा ज़हरा और शबरो शबीर की धड़कन भी जख्मी हो गई शबरो शबीर की धड़कन भी जख्मी हो गई सांस शमशीरे सितम है सांस शमशीरे सितम है फातिमा ज़हरा के बाद बेकसी है गम ہی غم ہے فاطمہ زہرا کے بعد. اور زینب و کلثوم نے پھر تو سحر دیکھی نہیں. زینب و کلثوم نے پھر تو سحر دیکھی نہیں. زندگی شام علم ہے, زندگی شام علم ہے, فاطمہ زہرا کے بعد بے کسی ہے غم ہی غم ہے فاطمہ زہرا کے بعد. عرش والے فرش والے سب ہی ماتمدار ہیں. عرش والے فرش والے سب ہی ماتمدار ہیں. نوح خوانی ہر قدم ہے, نوح خوانی ہر قدم ہے, فاطمہ زہرا کے بعد بے کسی ہے غم ہی غم ہے فاطمہ زہرا کے بعد. آج تک سلمان ہر قرطاس ہے فرش عزا. آج تک سلمان ہر قرطاس ہے فرش عزا. نوح خواں اب تک قلم ہے, نوح خواں اب تک قلم ہے, فاطمہ زہرا کے بعد بے کسی ہے غم ہی غم ہے فاطمہ زہرا کے بعد. فاطمہ زہرا, فاطمہ زہرا, فاطمہ زہرا.
بر محمد و آل محمد بلندتر صلوات.
Brothers, before we start the majalis, can I ask you all to move as far forward as possible to provide some space at the back? Ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. All the brothers at the back, can I please ask you to move as far forward as possible? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Can I now invite Syed Mahdi Modarassi to deliver tonight's majalis? Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
السلام عليكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. Brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Both Shia and Sunni historians have reported that toward the end of his life, Muslims, having grown excessively fond of Rasulullah and in love with every minute that he spent with them, would often approach the Prophet as he performed wudu in preparation for prayers, and they would fight over the droplets of water that would otherwise have fallen to the ground while the Prophet performed his wudu. They would grab those water droplets and use them as a means of healing, as a means of blessing and benediction. We also have reports that the Messenger of Allah was in Mina when he performed his one and only Hajj. And as you know, after you throw the pebbles in the direction of the shaitan and slaughter or sacrifice the animal for the sake of Allah, one of the acts of the pilgrimage to the house of Allah is to shave your head. When the commander of the faithful shaved the Prophet's head, Muslims also flocked towards the messenger, taking every last single one of those hair strands as a source of blessing and healing. And I don't think that any of those Muslims was being a hypocrite about trying to secure a piece of the Prophet, if you like, something with which they could remember the messenger. I think they were expressing genuine sentiments. They truly loved and admired the Prophet with such passion that drove them to such acts. Historians say, كانوا يأخذون من فاضل طهور رسول الله. Whatever water remained after the wudu, they would fight over it. So much so that everybody has reported that when the Messenger of Allah was approaching Mecca with his army of Muslims, faithful devotees, Abu Sufyan was sent on an expedition to examine the Prophet's army and to see whether or not they stood a chance in defeating it. When he came back, he told everyone, "This is a war we will lose." They said, "How do you know? Did they outnumber us? Did they outpower us? Did they have weaponry that we don't have?" He said, "No. I witnessed them as they heckled over taking those droplets of water," which means that the dedication they have towards Rasulullah is unmatched. They will not abandon him. They will fight to the last breath. So let's just surrender to them. And these were genuine sentiments, as I said. Here's my question. If Muslims at the time of the Messenger of Allah, listen carefully, brothers and sisters, this has practical implications on all of us. If Muslims displayed such love towards the Messenger that they would fight over the remainder of the water he used to perform ablution and wudu, then why is it that they abandoned part of the Prophet's own flesh and soul, his beloved daughter Fatimah az-Zahra, and allowed the conspirators and the coup leaders to attack and ambush her home and kill her as well as her fetus, her unborn child? Why? If Muslims loved Rasulullah to such an extent, how could they abandon his family? How could they abandon the one about whom Sahih al-Bukhari says, not Bihar al-Anwar? Sunni scholars have said this, not Shia scholars, that Rasulullah said, Fatima bad'atun minni. Fatima is a part of me. About whom Rasulullah said, Fatima ruhi allati bayna jambay. Fatima is my very soul that exists between my two shoulders. How could they abandon someone like Fatimah az-Zahra, an 18-year-old woman, the only surviving offspring of the Messenger of Allah? The one about whom Rasulullah said over and over again that all the prophets had their lineage from themselves, whereas my lineage is from Ali and his wife Fatima. How could they do this? To answer that question, there are multiple avenues we can take. I'll try and cover at least one tonight. As an introduction, I will say this. We all know that the commander of the faithful, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullahi alayhi, had to face multiple parties and different groups of enemies from the moment he ascended to the position of Khalifa, the apparent position of Khilafah. Those people have been reported in history, but what better than to quote the Imam himself in sermon number 2 of Nahj al-Balagha, the sermon known as Ash-Shiqshaqiyya, a sermon that if read in a relatively average tone won't take more than 5 minutes. Very short. So much so that Ibn Abbas said that I regret nothing the way I regret the fact that Amir al-Mu'mineen did not get to finish that sermon. It is called Ash-Shiqshaqiyya because the Imam towards the end was interrupted. The hadith simply says, by the way, it wasn't a sermon, technically speaking, as much as it was a speech that the Imam delivered to a group of his friends and companions, right? And that's a nuanced difference. That's a very delicate definition. A sermon is where you ascend the pulpit and you deliver a speech to a wide audience. But when you are speaking to a group of intimate friends and companions, then you're more expressive, you're more open about the things you say. And so if there are people who say, well, the Imam mentioned names in that sermon, it wasn't technically a sermon, it was more of a conversation. But towards the end, when the Imam spoke about the history following the coup of Saqifa and explained exactly what happened, the conspiracies, the lies, the deceptions, in the end, in Nahj al-Balagha it says, فَقَامَ لَهُ رَجُلٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِ السَّوَادِ. A black man rose and approached the Imam. Ahl al-Sawad means probably from Sudan, from Africa, an anonymous person whose name doesn't appear anywhere. He got up, he approached the Imam, and he gave him a note or whispered something in his ears, and the Imam stopped. Ibn Abbas said, I said to the Imam, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, please finish. We want to know more. We want to know the inner workings of the conspiracies. We want to know how they conspired against you. We want to know and reveal the hideous face of the hypocrites. So the Imam said, إِنَّهَا شِقْشِقَةٌ هَدَرَتْ ثُمَّ قَرَّتْ. In other words, there was a load resting on my chest, and I took it off just enough to be able to breathe. I don't want to go on. I don't want to elaborate any further than that. So Ibn Abbas said, I regret nothing the way I regret the fact that the Imam was interrupted. What did the Imam say in this sermon? Again, we're talking about the different categories of the people who stood against the Imam and stood at opposite ends with Ali ibn Abi Talib. He starts off by saying, أَمَا وَاللَّهِ لَقَدْ تَقَمَّصَهَا ابْنُ أَبِي قُحَافَةٍ. Such beautiful oratory. The examples, the euphemisms are incredible, brothers and sisters. Allow me to say something here parenthetically. The Arabic language has the special quality of being so precise and so nuanced that no translation in the world can do justice to it. No translation of the Quran can do justice to the verses of the Quran. And no translation that I or others provide can do justice to the sermons of Amir al-Mu'mineen. That's why if you want to learn about Islam from its original sources in its unadulterated, unsullied form, you need to learn Arabic. There's no shortcut to knowing the beauty of the Quran and the words of the Ahlul Bayt than to actually put in the effort and the time and the years required to learn Arabic. So the Imam, in an attempt for us to bring it down to our level, I will attempt to translate. He said, لَقَدْ تَقَمَّصَهَا ابْنُ أَبِي قُحَافَةٍ. He says, he wore it like a shirt. But, again, these are some of the nuances. When you say taqammas, it means that you usurp a shirt. You take a shirt forcefully and put it on. Meaning that the shirt was never yours to begin with. Meaning also that the shirt doesn't fit your size. It wasn't designed for you. It wasn't tailored for you. It was tailored for someone else. So when you take it by force, you ruin it. When you put it on, when it doesn't fit you, you also ruin it. You tear it up. You rip it down. You destroy it. Destroy what? The Imam likens the Khilafah, the position of vicegerency, the position of divine guidance, the position of leadership, to a shirt that's forcefully taken from its owner and put on without being fit for the individual. أَمَا وَاللَّهِ لَقَدْ تَقَمَّصَهَا ابْنُ أَبِي قُحَافَةٍ وَإِنَّهُ لَيَعْلَمُ. And by God, he certainly knows أَنَّ مَحَلِّي مِنْهَا مَحَلُّ الْقُطْبِ مِنَ الرَّحَى يَنْحَدِرُ عَنِّ السَّيْلِ وَلَا يَرْقَى إِلَيَّ الطَّيْرِ. He knows that my position with regards to the position of leadership is like the axis inside the disc, inside the mill. Without the axis, the mill wouldn't work, it wouldn't function, it wouldn't do what it's supposed to do. يَنْحَدِرُ عَنِّ السَّيْلِ. I am like a summit from which rivers flow. وَلَا يَرْقَى إِلَيَّ الطَّيْرِ. And no bird can reach that summit because of its immense height. فسدلت دونها ثوبا وطويت عنها كشحا وطفقت أرتئي بين أن أصول بيد جذاء أو أصبر على طخية عمياء. So I looked away. I had no interest. I had no desire. Fatimah az-Zahra is once asked a question. She was asked, somebody found her crying at the gravesite of Hamza, Sayyid al-Shuhada, the Prophet's uncle. The one about whom Amir al-Mu'mineen says, if my uncle Hamza was alive, my right would never be usurped. It would never be taken from me because Hamza would have made a stance. Fatimah az-Zahra would often go there. It's outside the city. Those of you who have been to Hajj, you go to where Hamza is buried. And he said, as I was walking, I noticed Fatimah az-Zahra was crying bitterly. So I went up to her and I said, Ya binta Rasulullah, your cries have torn my heart apart. And then he asked her a series of questions which I don't want to get into. Towards the end he said, Ya ibnata Rasulullah, tell me, why isn't Ali fighting for his right? Why isn't he putting himself out there and taking what's rightfully his instead of sitting in his home? So she said, Ya hada, إنما مثل الإمام كمثل الكعبة تؤتى ولا تأتي. The example of an imam, the example of a divinely appointed leader is like the Kaaba. You go to the Kaaba doesn't come after you. Ali ibn Abi Talib makes the call. He invites people for their own good. If they come, it's in their best interest. If they don't, he said, لَنَا حَقٌّ إِنْ أُعْطِينَا. I have a right. If that right is given to me, and I will try. If the right is then given to me, then fine. Otherwise, وَإِلَّا رَكِبْنَا أَعْجَازَ الْإِبِلِ وَلَوْ طَالَ بِنَا السُّرَى. I will continue going in my own direction, doing whatever I need to do. Even if it means Ali ibn Abi Talib spends 25 years doing nothing but digging wells, watering plants, so that centuries later when you go to Hajj, they give you a bottle of water that says Abyaru Aliyin alayhi salam. The wells of Ali, 14 centuries. You think the well of Zamzam is a miracle? What about the wells of Ali ibn Abi Talib that are feeding and quenching the thirst of every Hajj? Even if it means Ali ibn Abi Talib spends his life as a farmer. What a travesty of justice this is. What oppression, not just to Ali ibn Abi Talib, but oppression subjected to the entire human race and beyond. That instead of being handed a pen and paper, Ali is handed a shovel and a spade. Of course, on the side, Amir al-Mu'mineen was training people, educating people, guiding people, so that one day we'd have Maytham al-Tammar, one day we'd have Malik al-Ashtar, one day we'd have Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr. This is the power of Ali ibn Abi Talib, brothers and sisters. Muhammad ibn who? Abi Bakr. Salamullah ala Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr. When he died, Amir al-Mu'mineen went into his home and mourned for 3 days non-stop without coming out of his house. They said to him, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, we all know whose son he was. I mean, he was a great man, no doubt, but at the end of the day, the Imam said, Muhammadun ibni min sulbi Abi Bakr. Muhammad was like a son to me. Muhammad was my son, albeit from Abu Bakr, from his lineage, but he was mine. So the Imam invites people. If they come, it's in their best interest. If they don't, they're the ones who are at a loss. Like Fatimiyah al-Zahra explained to the women of Muhajirin and Ansar, which I don't want to get into right now. The point is this. The Imam says that I found myself in this position in Khutbah al-Shaqiqiyya, and I turned to the other side. You don't want to give me the Khilafah, you're the ones who are going to lose. And then he said, he went on and on and on. The point I want to mention is this. The Imam then said, فَلَمَّا قُمْتُ بِالْأَمْرِ. After all these tragedies, after all these conspiracies, after all the crimes that were committed, in the end they flocked to me. They came to me كَرَبِيضَةِ الْغَنَمِ, like a flock of sheep, begging me, Ya Ali, we've tried everybody else, and we failed miserably. We tried every other system, and look what happened. Look what we've created now. Look at the monster that we've created. Look at the corruption. Look at the bloodshed. Look at the lies. Look at the community that's been corrupted beyond recognition. Ya Ali, you're the only savior. So the Imam said, حَتَّى وُطِئَ الْحَسْنَانُ وَشُقَّ عَطْفَاي. It was an ambush to the point where they stepped on my toes and they tore my sleeves, begging me to come and become a Khalifa. So fine. You want me to come now? So the Imam says, فَلَمَّا قُمْتُ بِالْأَمْرِ. When I decided to take this mission and to do what I'm supposed to do, then he said immediately after that, فَنَكَثَتْ طَائِفَةٌ وَقَصَطَتْ أُخْرَى. A group of them severed their pledge of allegiance, which is in reference to who? In reference to Talha, Zubayr, others who gave their pledge to Amir al-Mu'mineen as the new Khalifa, right? And then the war of Jamal started, and then after the war of the battle of Jamal was the battle of Siffin, and after the battle of Siffin was the battle of Nahrawan. War after war after war, conspiracy after conspiracy after conspiracy, Coup after coup after coup, all in what? In 4 years. 4 years the Imam got to rule. They never gave him a chance. Salamullah alayka ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. The patience that he displayed. And this is what I want to talk about. Again, we're trying to answer the question, how could people seek blessing from the droplets of the Prophet's ablution but abandon Fatimah az-Zahra? The answer is, Amir al-Mu'mineen faced multiple enemies. The first one we said was what? An-Nakithun. And the Nakithin started the battle of Jamal. 10,000 hands. Listen to these statistics, just to get a sense of the scope of those wars and the damage and the carnage that they left behind. 10,000 hands were severed because people were trying to hold the rein of the camel on which the commander was seated. One hand would hold the reins, it would get cut off. The second person would come and hold the reins again. 10,000 were cut off. Until Amir al-Mu'mineen said, go for the camel. At this point, it was between killing the camel or killing the rider of the camel. The Imam didn't want to kill the rider, as vile as it was. He said, go for the camel. And it was the brave Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam who, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, who accomplished the mission, cut off the legs of the camel left, fell to the ground, and that was the end of the battle. People were coming up to Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ya Ali, how do we fight al-Mu'mineen? This is al-Mu'mineen we're talking about. You see what 25 years of corruption does? 25 years of manipulation, 25 years of propaganda against the Ahlul Bayt, where subhanallah the titles of the Imams were taken, usurped, just as their land, their property, their positions and everything they had was also confiscated from them and handed over to other people. Suddenly al-Mu'mineen becomes as-Siddiqah, even though Rasulullah said Fatimatu as-Siddiqatul Kubra. Fatima is the truthful one. Fatima is the one that never lies. In fact, she said this to number one when she came asking for her right and her inheritance. She said, didn't the Prophet ever call me a Siddiqah? So how could I possibly be lying? But that title was handed over to somebody else, right? Rasulullah said, Fatimatu Jabalul Ilm. Fatima is the mountain of knowledge. Guess what they did? They took that title and gave it to somebody else, to the point where they narrate a hadith that says, Khudu shatra dinikum min Aisha. Take a third or half of your religion from Aisha. Meaning that she dictates religious edicts. She's a jurist who tells you what to do and what not to do. Her position in God's religion is tantamount to that of Rasulullah. The same with Amir al-Mu'mineen. So they came to the Imam, how do we fight al-Mu'mineen? Which, by the way, al-Mu'mineen is a totally made up title. There's no such hadith, no incident where the Messenger of Allah called any of his wives, Ya al-Mu'mineen. Never, not once. In other words, it is what? A bid'ah, an innovation. Call them whatever you want. Call them by the names that Rasulullah used, whatever that may be. But al-Mu'mineen is made up. Moving on. That was the battle of Jamal. Then came the battle of Siffin. Let me tell you something about the battle of Siffin. Wars in those days generally didn't take more than 1 day. So if you look at the battle of Badr, Uhud, Al-Khandaq, or Ahzab, as well as the battle of Jamal, they all lasted 1 day. Which means it was pretty much one campaign, one assault, one attack, and it was the end of the battle. The battle of Siffin took 110 days, almost 4 months. An army of 50,000 people marched from Kufa for 2,000 kilometers to the city of Raqqa, which was under ISIS control up until recently. I don't know what the situation is now. 2,000 kilometers. Imagine walking all the way with armor and weaponry and everything else. It was difficult. It was hard. Nowadays we walk in Ziyarat al-Arba'in. By far the single greatest show of generosity, of compassion, of love, and of force by the Shia in this day and age. What a beautiful march that takes place from across the world, flocking towards the holy city of Karbala. Nothing like it. And yet, people find that difficult as well. A lot of people who aren't used to it, Iraqis, mashallah, they run, they sprint from Basra, 600 kilometers to Karbala, they get there in 2 weeks. And others might find it very difficult. Imagine walking for 2,000 kilometers. But they did. And when the Imam arrived there, you know some of the stories. The Imam arrived there and access to water was cut off. Muawiyah was training his son Yazid in the art of war. Muawiyah is the one who should have written the art of war. And he blocked the army's access to water resources. They had to fight over it. The Imam took over the water resources and then handed it over back to the enemy's side. Salamullah alayk ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. But the point here is this. When the Imam arrived in Raqqa, he then spent an entire month admonishing and advising them against fighting the Khalifa of Rasulullah. بِأَبِي أَنْتَ وَأُمِّي يَا أَمِيرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Just like Imam al-Hussein did on the day of Ashura. At least 6 sermons were delivered where the Imam did what he was primarily sent here to do, which was to guide people. Perhaps there is 1 or 2 or 10 people who still can be salvaged, who can be saved. Perhaps there are those that can be swayed by the truth so they could switch sides. Maybe there is a hur in the enemy army that is willing to put his desires behind his back, to step over the shaitan and join the camp of Hussein. Maybe there is somebody out there. In the exact same manner, Amir al-Mu'mineen spent a month doing that. And then the battle raged. Like I said, 110 days, which means 110 assaults, which means 110 campaigns. So much blood was shed that people started telling each other, لَقَدْ انْقَطَعَ نَسْلُ الْعَرَبِ. Arab lineage has been severed. No more Arabs will survive this. It's the end of us all. The Imam had to face all of these wars. Sorry for the long introduction, but I'm trying to make a critical point. He had to face al-Nakithin, al-Qasitin, Muawiyah and Bani Umayyah, and then al-Mariqin, the Kharijites, the people who left this religion and declared war against the Imam and against everything that he stood for, who faced off with the Imam in the end in Nahrawan near Baghdad. But there was a 4th group. Listen carefully. Nakithin, Qasitin, Mariqin. Nakithin, Qasitin, Mariqin. There's a 4th group that I'd like to call Al-Qa'idin. And it's this 4th group that Nahj al-Balagha is replete with references about this 4th group. And they represent the vast majority, the bulk of the people in the time of Amir al-Mu'mineen to this day. They're the same people that Amir al-Mu'mineen addressed by saying quite famously, لَقَدْ مَلَأْتُمْ قَلْبِي قَيْحًا. You have filled my chest with pus. In other words, you have caused an infection in my lungs from the amount of time that I've spent speaking to you and trying to advise you and trying to bring you back to the straight path. They're the same group about whom Amir al-Mu'mineen said, لَقَدْ مَلَلْتُهُمْ وَمَلُّونِي. I am sick of them and they're sick of me. Oh Allah, take me. They're the same group about whom Amir al-Mu'mineen said, Allahumma abdilni khayran minhum wa abdilhum sharran minni. Oh Allah, replace them by better followers for me, and replace me by a much worse ruler for them. They can't stand the justice of Ali. Well, they'll get a taste of injustice after Ali. They don't like what I am presenting them, which is the truth. They'll be force-fed falsehood for a very long time. This is the group the Imam was talking about. Subhanallah. It's the same group about whom the Imam said, Ya ashbah ar-rijal wala rijal. You resemble men, you look like men, but I don't see any men. You talk a big game, you claim to follow me, you are in my army, you've signed up voluntarily, and yet this is what I see from you. It's the same group about whom Amir al-Mu'mineen said, لَيْتَ مُعَاوِيَ يَصْرِفُكُمْ صَرْفَ الدِّينَارِ بِالدِّرْهَمِ. I wish Muawiyah would strike a deal with me. Ya Ali, you, a man of striking deals with Muawiyah of all people? We didn't take you for a deal maker. We didn't take you for someone who would compromise. Certainly not with Muawiyah. The Imam said, no, that's not the deal you're thinking of. I wish Muawiyah would give me one of his men and take 10 of you. Because the dedication that the enemy displays towards their falsehood is 10 times as strong as your supposed dedication towards your truth. You have Ali, and this is what you do. They have Muawiyah. Look how much more devout they are to his cause. لَيْتَ مُعَاوِيَ يَصْرِفُكُمْ صَرْفَ الدِّينَارِ بِالدِّرْهَمِ. Now, who are these groups? And what do they represent? What are their qualities and characteristics? In a nutshell, these are, like I said, the bulk, the vast majority. They're the bystanders. They're the impartial observers. They're the champion chasers. They're the ones you see if you've ever seen a fight break out, right? What happens is two people are fighting, but then you have like 500 people watching the fight. They couldn't care less who wins or who loses. They're just there for the entertainment value of it. They're there hoping to catch a little bit of the action, and then whoever wins at the end, everybody will gather around and raise him up over their shoulders. They're not looking for truth versus falsehood. They're looking for entertainment. They're looking for a loaf of bread. They're looking to make a living. They're looking to see whoever wins so that they could join them and be able to live a life of convenience and comfort and happiness. That's it. They might actually display sentiments towards the Imams, towards the truth, and whoever represents the truth. Remember when he came from Kufa, the Imam said to him, how did you find Kufa? He said, Ya ibn Rasulullah, قُلُوبُهُمْ مَعَكْ وَسُيُوفُهُمْ عَلَيْكَ. Their hearts are with you. They actually love you. Right? In other words, they sympathize with you. It's not genuine love. They sympathize. If they got together without fear of being watched or having spies among them, they'll probably say, oh, poor Hussein, poor Zainab, poor Ali, poor Hassan, right? But if the push came to the shove, they will also raise swords and come to kill you right here. Because again, they're there to make a living, not to establish the truth, not to do the right thing. They want to live. And there were plenty of people like that. In fact, the 30,000 people who came to fight Imam al-Hussein, the bulk of them were like this. They didn't have like a vendetta against Imam al-Hussein. They didn't hate the Ahlul Bayt. They were just there because they were paid a fee and given a contract. That's it. If Imam al-Hussein had given them the same contract, they would have done it. They would have fought with him perhaps, if they thought they could survive. Remember Al-Dhahhak al-Mashriqi? Have you heard that name before? Al-Dhahhak al-Mashriqi is the one who narrates the number 72 as the number of companions of Imam al-Hussein, which is an inaccurate number. It's not a correct number. Because Imam al-Zaman in Ziyarat al-Nahiyah mentions the names of over 90 companions of Imam al-Hussein. Right? Why did Dhahhak al-Mashriqi say 72 companions? Because he was there up until the early hours of afternoon on the day of Ashura, and he was in Imam Hussein's camp. So then, when the assault took place that led to the martyrdom of Habib ibn Mudahir and 50 of Imam Hussein's companions, when the dust settled, he went up to Imam al-Hussein. He said, Ya ibn Rasulullah, I had a deal with you. The deal was that if I can help protect you and save your life, I would stay with you. But if I realize, as I do now, that me being here will not make a difference to the end result, and that I will die, but you'll also die, and therefore my death will be in vain, then can I be excused? The Imam said to him, sure. The night before, Imam al-Hussein said to his companions, leave, grab each other's hands and go away. Save yourselves, save your families. Imam al-Hussein isn't trying to force anyone into Hidayah. He's not trying to force anyone into the highest places of paradise. It's an option. You either take it or not. So the Imam said to him, sure, you can go. But how are you going to go? There are no horses left. You need a fast vehicle with which you can escape. He said, I've got a horse saved up for myself in one of the tents. He always had an exit strategy. He had a plan B for himself. And if you have a plan B when it comes to the truth, you will always go for plan B. You will never stand your ground all the way to the end. Psychologically, it's impossible. The Imam said, sure, you can go. So he escaped, probably died, what, months later, years later? Does it even make a difference? And took the regret of abandoning Aba Abdullah al-Hussein to his grave, and possibly into the fires of hell. The vast majority were people who just wanted to make a living. They were promised a little bit of dates. They were promised maybe a little bit money when they got back. And there were others as well. Let me give you a couple of examples that are interesting. Hassan ibn Thabit was a famous poet, someone who sang praises of Rasulullah and Islam and encouraged Muslims who were fighting in the battlefield. He was also one of these impartial observers, one of these bystanders, one of these champion chasers. Another one that might be more surprising to you is Usama ibn Zayd. Have you heard that name? I'm sure you have. Usama ibn Zayd was the son of the adopted son of Rasulullah. He was the one who led the army to Mu'tah on the day of the death of Rasulullah, when the Prophet said, لَعَنَ اللَّهُ مَنْ تَخَلَّفَ عَنْ جَيْشِ Usama. May God curse anyone who does not join the army of Usama. Remember that man? And he had, subhanallah, how, brothers and sisters, we should always fear the potential of going astray. Where you are today, that position of yours, as far as belief in Allah and love of the Ahlul Bayt and so forth is concerned, that's not permanent. You need to constantly, it's like someone standing at the edge of a cliff. You can't get too comfortable. You always have to be on the watch. You always have to be careful. You have to exert effort. You have to hold on to this rope. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. We're all dangling from this rope. Don't get too comfortable. Don't let go. Always be on the watch. Always be careful where you're getting your information from. Who's teaching you your religion? Who are you being quoted? Be very careful, brothers and sisters. He went, while he was away, Abu Bakr wrote to him. And the way he wrote to him was interesting. He said to him, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, من خليفة رسول الله أبي بكر إلى أسامة ibn Zayd. From the successor of Rasulullah to Usama ibn Zayd. أما بعد وقد اجتمعت الأمة. I hereby declare that the nation of Muslims gathered around and they elected me as their leader. فاسمع إلي وأطع. Obey me and give me your pledge of allegiance and come back to Medina as soon as possible. He wrote back to Abu Bakr. He said, hang on a second. Dude, chill. The beginning of your letter contradicts the end of your letter. The beginning says you're the successor of Rasulullah. The end says the people chose you as their leader. So which is it? Did the Prophet appoint you? Did the people appoint you? Was this a democracy? Is it a monarchy? What the hell is it? He refused. But then when he came, they started, it was definitely an orchestrated effort. They started giving him undue respect. They would call him, Ya man ammarahu Rasulullah. You're the commander appointed by Rasulullah. Every time he'd walk, they'd all stand up for him. Salaamu alaikum, mashallah, subhanallah, please, take your seat. The undue respect they showed him got to him. The arrogance began to creep in. And slowly but surely, when Amirul Mu'mineen became the Khalifa, he was among 5 people who refused to give allegiance to the Imam. Like Abdullah ibn Umar and others. Usama ibn Zayd. He's a champion chaser. Towards the end, he couldn't care less. Whoever's in charge. Ali's position seems untenable. He's got too many enemies. If I pledge my allegiance today, tomorrow I'm going to have problems with Talha and Zubayr. Let's just wait this out and see what happens. So there were plenty of people like this, brothers and sisters. And sometimes we do this for the right intentions. You know, we try to remain impartial. We know what the truth is, but it's like, academics, for example, right? I'm just an impartial observer. I just state the facts. I'm not concerned with petty things like truth and falsehood, right, wrong. What I'm concerned about is to report. It's like some journalists, right? By the way, there is no such thing as absolute objectivity, right? Everybody has their biases. I don't care if you have 10 PhDs, you have your biases. And sometimes it spills in your rhetoric, in your vernacular, in your language, the way you address things, right? But what's much worse than that, much worse than having biases, is to deny having biases, and therefore not side with the truth because, what do you know? I'm just an innocent bystander, I'm an observer, I'm an impartial person. And like I said, these were the vast majority of people. They weren't necessarily stupid. They weren't naive. In fact, often it's the other way around, right? Oftentimes you find people who are simple-minded. They don't have any academic accolades. They don't have any qualifications. But whatever they do know, they stand by. They perform their obligations. They do the right thing. And they can reach this first or second level of Iman. It's the other way around in that usually those who are smart are the ones that you need to keep an eye out for. Those who are smart when it comes to the dunya, when it comes to making deals, when it comes to buying and selling and business and, academic qualifications and whatnot, they're the ones that need to be extra careful. Because they're the ones who often will take a more measured, quote-unquote, measured approach to the truth and falsehood. Here's what I'm trying to say. It started with abandoning Fatimah az-Zahra because it's one thing to say, I am seeking blessings from the water droplets of the Prophet's ablution, but it's another to make a stance in defense of Fatimah. To take a little bit of water and wipe it on your face, to touch the dharih and claim that you're a devotee, doesn't cost you anything. You are doing this in order to buy 1,000 acres in paradise. And that is well worth it. But if you're going to make a stance while everybody else is opposed to you, if you're going to do the right thing and be the odd one out, and be singled out, and stick out like a sore thumb, if you are alone in your pursuit of the truth and your rejection of falsehood, that has a price you need to pay. The price comes in the form of your reputation, your standing in the community. It's like when, imagine a speaker, Mahdi al-Modarassi or whoever it is, makes a blatantly erroneous statement, something that contradicts the Quran, or contradicts the Hadith, or contradicts the established creed of the Shia faith. How many people have it in them to actually get up interrupt the speaker and say, hey, you're wrong. No disrespect, but you're wrong. If it's blatantly wrong, sometimes the speaker might be misunderstood. I get it. But let's say, for example, someone makes a statement that is absolutely, unequivocally, without question, opposed to the established creed of the Ahlul Bayt. Do you have it in you to actually get up and make a stance? It's hard. It's difficult, I know. Everybody else is sitting down in a civil manner. Everyone's behaved. And I'm the only one who's going to get up and make a fool out of myself. But that is a price that needs to be paid when the truth is as clear as daylight, when Fatima's house is being ambushed, while everybody looked on. Everyone was looking on. The neighbors, these are people who knew Rasulullah. They knew, according to Sunni traditions, Rasulullah would come to the house of Fatima for 6 months every single day and recite the verse in the Quran. 33:33, we all know it. إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ. In this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives an honor to Fatimah Zahra like no other. One that proves without a doubt that Fatima was infallible, Fatima was pure. إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. 6 months on end. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. They all heard it, they all saw it, and yet when the ambush happened, they all looked on. Impartial observers, or just people who had sold their religion and their conscience for the cheapest of prices? Impartial observers, or people who were observing the proof and hujjah of Allah scream behind the door, Ya abatah ahakadha yuf'alu bihabibatik. Oh Father, look at what they're doing to me. Baba, I am your daughter. You were with them up until 2 months ago. Ghadir is only 4 months away from today when Ali was appointed as the Khalifa. Look at what they're doing to me. And so it began with that dreadful day of treason and betrayal. It then led to all the wars against Amir al-Mu'mineen. The wars then led to the abandonment of Imam Abi Muhammadin al-Hasan, and Imam al-Hasan being stabbed by the closest lieutenants in his army and being called Ya Mudhill al-Mu'mineen, oh one who humiliated the believers. And that later led to the massacre of Ashura and the murder of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. You see how that works? You see how deviation takes place? It's one step after the other. It never starts off with the biggest calamity. It goes one step after the other, which is why we have traditions, brothers and sisters, that say that one of the first signs of you being distanced from religion is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يَسْلُبُ مِنْهُ حَلَاوَةَ مُنَاجَاتِهِ. Allah takes away the pleasure of speaking to Him from us. You know how when somebody gets sick, the first sign of illness is what? Is you lose appetite in food. When you start losing appetite in spiritual things, the Quran, the narrations of the Ahlul Bayt, the du'as of the Ahlul Bayt, when your appetite is no longer there, that's a red sign that you need to watch out. You need to figure out what you're doing that's wrong. You need to see if you're deviating from the path of the Imams, the Ahlul Bayt, if you're not paying attention to the Imam of your time. And that's how it went until Fatimah Zahra, the mistress of the women of the world, was crushed between the wall and the door, killing her infant child, Muhsin. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Muhsin was a name given to him by Rasulullah himself. Traditions tell us that if Muhsin had survived, he would be at the same level as Imam al-Hasan and Imam al-Hussein. Imagine the lineage that was severed. Just like Imam al-Hussein said on the day of Ashura, he addressed Umar ibn Sa'd and he said to him, قَطَعَ اللَّهُ رَحِمَكَ كَمَا قَطَعْتَ رَحِمِي. May Allah sever your lineage the way you are severing my lineage by killing my beloved son Ali al-Akbar. They severed the lineage of Rasulullah on the day they ambushed the house of Fatima. Assalamu alayki ya mawlati ya Fatimah az-Zahra ya bint Rasulillah أيتها الصديقة الشهيدة. She told Asma, "Oh Asma, bring me my sons Hassan and Hussein. Bring me my daughter Zainab. I wish to bathe them." Ya al-Hasanin, you're too ill. You can't do this. She said, "No. For the last time, I wish to bathe my children myself. I wish to comb the hair of Zainab." She bathed her children. Then she said to Asma, "Ya Asma, I will go into my room to pray. If you could no longer hear my voice, then you should know I am with my father Rasulullah. I saw him in my dream. I told him, Ya Abata, look at what your nation has done to me. Look at what your followers have done to my husband Ali. Nobody says Salamun alaykum to Ali anymore. What's worse is that when Ali would say Salamun alaykum, no one responded to him. So Rasulullah said to me, Ya Ibnati, Ya Fatima, despair not, for tonight you will be my guest in paradise. She went into the room, she prayed to Allah until her voice vanished. Asma said, I went to the door, Ya bint Rasulullah. She did not answer. Ya al-Hasanin, she wouldn't answer. Ya Mawlati, Ya Fatima. No one believed Fatima would die so quickly. She's only 18 years old. She was healthy. There was nothing wrong with her until the day of the attack. When she didn't get a response, she went into the room and she saw Fatima had parted with this life. While she was there scrambling, not knowing what to do, Hassan and Hussein entered the room. She tried to take them out, but they had realized something was amiss. Then they ran outside. Abata, father, awalis qad matat ummuna Fatima. Our mother is dead. Oh father, come. That night when Amir al-Mu'mineen was bathing, washing the body of Fatima, the hadith says that when he was ready to wrap the shroud, he then called out, Ya Hassan, Ya Hussein, Ya Zainab, Ya Kulthum, تعالوا وتزودوا من أمكم فاطمة. Come, this is the last farewell. They all rushed into the room. Hassan, Hussein. Hassan went and held her head. Hussein grabbed her feet and started kissing it. Oh mother, give our regards to our grandfather Rasulullah and tell him we have just become orphaned. The hadith says, Imam al-Baqir says, when that happened, Fatimah al-Zahra then raised her hands, embraced her children. Ali ibn Abi Talib is standing watching this when a call was made in the heaven, Irfa'huma ya Ali, O Ali, lift them up, remove them. فقد والله أبكيا ملائكة السماء. The angels in heaven are now crying. Now I say this to you, O mu'mineen, this was an incident when the angels cried for the tragedy of Fatima. There was another incident when the angels screamed and stopped doing tasbih. Do you know when that was? It was when Zainab went on top of the Tell Zainabi فوضعت عشرها على رأسها. What did Zainab see? She placed both her hands on her head. She said, ليت السماء أطبقت على الأرض. I wish the sky would fall on the earth. I ask you, Zainab, what did you see from that position? She saw an army of 30,000 people. Imam al-Sadiq elaborates. He says a group of them were holding swords. فَفِرْقَةٌ بِالسُّيُوفِ وَفِرْقَةٌ بِالسِّهَامِ وَفِرْقَةٌ بِالْحِجَارَةِ. Those who didn't have weapons, they were holding rocks in their hand, swarming on Abu Abdullah al-Husayn. Zainab cried out, Ya Rasulullah, O Messenger of God, this is the same Hussein you would not lift off of your chest. Look at him with shimmer sitting on his chest. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. اللهم العن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم العن العصابة التي جاهدت الحسين وشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله. اللهم العنهم جميعا يا حسين.
يا حسين 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 هيا على خير الأمل هيا على خير الأمل هيا على خير الأمل يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين سيدة طاهرة سيدة طاهر سيدة طاهرة سيدة طاهرة يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين هيا या हुसैन सीने में लिए रंजो अलम करबो बला का बाबा से है मिलने को चली उम्मे अबीहा आँखों से लहू बहता है पहलू है शिकस्ता या फातिमा ज़हरा 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 ब्रदर्स माशाअल्लाह है या सुन के मातमी फातिमा ज़हरा उम्मत ने बहुत आपको तड़पाया है बीबी हर हक के लिए आपको तरसाया है बीबी गासिब ने जो दरबार में बुलवाया है बीबी इस दुख से लरज़ने लगा खुद अर्श खुदा का या फातिमा ज़हरा या फातिमा ज़हरा या फातिमा ज़हरा या फातिमा ज़हरा है या फातिमा शबीर की दुनिया में विलादत से भी पहले कहती थी ये ज़हरा के बहुत सहती हूँ सदमे बच्चा ये मेरा कोख में बेचैन बहुत है बच्चा मेरा कहता है कि अम्मा मैं हूँ प्यासा या फातिमा ज़हरा 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 है या है या फातिमा जियो मातमा ये काम रहा सदियों से बस अहले अज़ा का प्यासों के लिए बहता रहा अश्कों का दरिया शबीर का पुरसा दिया ज़हरा को हमेशा शबीर को दो मादरे शबीर का पुरसा फातिमा ज़हरा या फातिमा ज़हरा फातिमा ज़हरा या फातिमा ज़हरा या फातिमा ज़हरा या जियो मातमी फातिमा ज़हरा है या ज़हरा सीने में अज़ल से ही मेरे करबो बला है जाते हुए ज़हरा ने ये दुनिया से कहा है क्या शाम में होना है ये सब मुझको पता है तपते हुए सहरा में है शबीर का लाशा या फातिमा ज़हरा या फातिमा ज़हरा या फातिमा ज़हरा ہے یا فاطمہ زہرا فاطمہ زہرا ہے یا ماشاءاللہ ماؤں سے عزاداروں کی زہرا نے کہا ہے عاشور کے مقصد کا بھرم تم نے رکھا ہے بچوں کو عزاداری پر قربان کیا ہے محشر میں چکاؤں گی میں قرضہ یہ تمہارا یا فاطمہ زہرا یا فاطمہ زہرا یا فاطمہ زہرا یا فاطمہ زہرا ہے یا فاطمہ زہرا یا اب دل سے قمر وار سے زہرا کو بلاؤ اب دل سے قمر وار سے زہرا کو بلاؤ پامال یہ مرقد پر بہت اشک بہاؤ اے مرتکب قلب و بلا پردہ اٹھاؤ محسن کی لہب بن گیا پہلو ہے شکستہ یا فاطمہ زہرا یا فاطمہ زہرا یا فاطمہ زہرا یا فاطمہ فاطمہ زہرا زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئے زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئے ہے زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئے زہرا کی سب مل کے بلندہ ماشاءاللہ زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی سجاد کو ضعیف صدائیں یہ کر گئے علامہ 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 زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئے زہرا جیو تمہیں سب مل کے بولنا ہے ماشاءاللہ اتر گئے ہے زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی جاتی تھی جو کبھی کبھی زہرا کی قبر پر جاتی تھی جو کبھی کبھی زہرا کی قبر پر جانے خدا ہجوم سے کیسے گزر گئے علامہ 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 زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئے زہرا ماشاءاللہ کی ردائیں اتر گئی زہرا جیو بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی ظلم و ستم کی تیز ہوائیں تھی جب چلی ظلم و ستم کی تیز ہوائیں تھی جب چلی سب گلشن بطول کی کلیاں بکھر گئے علامہ 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 زہرا کی بیٹیوں علامہ علامہ زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی ہے زہرا ماشاء اللہ کی ردائیں اتر گئی ہے زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی بازار لے کے جاؤ نا بے پرواہ ظالموں بازار لے کے جاؤ نا بے پرواہ ظالموں مر جائے گی حسین کی بہنیں اگر گئی علامہ 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 زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی ہے زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی ہے زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی ہے زہرا کی ردائیں اتر گئی سرور تو کیا لکھے گا نبی ذاتیوں کے غم سرور تو کیا لکھے گا نبی ذاتیوں کے غم سمجھو کہ شام جانے سے پہلے ہی مر گئی علامہ 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 زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی ہے زہرا کی ردائیں اتر گئی یا حسین یا بی بی فاطمہ زہرا بی بی فاطمہ زہرا اشکوں کا واسطہ ہے بی بی فاطمہ زہرا مادر ہے شاہ والا کی آپ ہی تو بی بی جن سے کہا خدا نے ہو جا مجھ سے راضی ان کے ہی صدقے میں بی بی دیجئے ہمیں رضا تیرے در پہ آ گئے ہیں بی بی فاطمہ زہرا تیرے در پہ آ گئے ہیں بی بی فاطمہ زہرا تیرے در پہ آ گئے ہیں بی بی فاطمہ زہرا بے چین ہے طبیعت دل پر نہیں ہے قابو ہم نے بہائے لاکھوں شہ کے آپ آنسو مشکل میں آنسوؤں کی دیجئے ہمیں جزا تیرے در پہ آ گئے ہیں بی بی فاطمہ زہرا تیرے در پہ آ گئے ہیں بی بی فاطمہ زہرا پر ہول ہے فضائے سمت ہے بلائے بی بی ہماری پوری ہوتی نہیں دعائیں کرتے ہیں ہر گھڑی بس ہم یہی دعا تیرے در پہ آ گئے ہیں بی بی فاطمہ زہرا تیرے در پہ آ گئے ہیں بی بی فاطمہ زہرا بیماریوں نے ایسا آ کر ہمیں ہے گھیرا جیسے کہ زندگی میں اپنی ہوا اندھیرا بی بی بصدق عابد دیجئے ہمیں شفا تیرے در پہ آ گئے ہیں بی بی فاطمہ زہرا تیرے در پہ آ گئے ہیں بی بی فاطمہ زہرا شبیر کا گلا جو شمر لئی نے کاٹا دیتے ہیں واسطہ اس سوکھے ہوئے گلے کا ہو جائے اپنی ہستی سے دور حادثہ تیرے در پہ آ گئے ہیں بی بی فاطمہ زہرا تیرے در پہ آ گئے ہیں بی بی فاطمہ زہرا جس پر بہا رہی تھی ایسے سکینہ آنسو نہر فرات پر جو کٹ کٹ گئے وہ بازو صدقے میں ان کے کیجئے قوت ہمیں عطا تیرے در پہ آ گئے ہیں بی بی فاطمہ زہرا تیرے در پہ آ گئے ہیں بی بی فاطمہ زہرا جس نے اتار لی تھی ظالم نے ایک برچی اکبر کے زخم سینے کا واسطہ ہے بی بی اکبر سا ہم کو جذبہ مل جائے راضیہ تیرے در پہ آ گئے ہیں بی بی فاطمہ زہرا تیرے در پہ آ گئے ہیں بی بی فاطمہ زہرا تیرے ستم سے جس کو تھا ملا نے چھیدا ننھے سے اس گلے کے صدقے میں بی بی زہرا بچوں کو ہم سبھی کے اب دیجئے حوصلہ تیرے در پہ آ گئے ہیں بی بی فاطمہ زہرا تیرے در پہ آ گئے ہیں بی بی فاطمہ زہرا فاطمہ کی امانت ہے اتنا یاد رکھو غم حسین نسل کے سپرد کرو یہ فاطمہ کی امانت ہے اتنا یاد رکھو یہ فاطمہ کی امانت یہ کہہ کے لاؤ جلوسوں میں اپنے بچوں کو یہ کہہ کے لاؤ جلوسوں میں اپنے بچوں کو چلو ہمارے قدم سے قدم ملا کے چلو یہ فاطمہ کی امانت ہے اتنا یاد رکھو یہ فاطمہ کی امانت ہے اتنا یاد رکھو کی امانت ہے اتنا یاد رکھو یہ فاطمہ کی امانت ہے اتنا یاد رکھو یہ فاطمہ امانت ہے اتنا یاد رکھو. اس وقت جب کہ زینب دربار میں گئی تھی خاری نمازیوں سے محفل سجی ہوئی تھی اور ظالم یہ پوچھتا تھا غازی تیرا کہاں ہے. بالوں سے منہ چھپائے زینب یہ کہہ رہی تھی عباس 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 عباس. تیرے علم کو تانے ہر شخص کہہ رہا ہے مظلوم کربلا کا زینب کا واسطہ ہے. پردیس کوئی ایسا پردیس میں نہ اجڑے صدقے میں اس کے جس کا گھر بار لٹ گیا ہے. عباس 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 عباس. دیر کے ستائے تیرے در پہ سر جھکائیں اشکوں کی التجا ہم غازی تجھے سنائیں. بیمار سارواں کے زخموں کا واسطہ ہے جتنے بھی خستہ دل ہیں مولا شفا وہ پائے. عباس 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 عباس. اتنے بھی اشک مولا کی رتاس پر گرے ہیں معصومہ کی قسم یہ غازی فقط تیرے ہیں. اور جو کچھ رقم کروں میں جو نہ رقم ہوا ہے الفاظ وہ ادا کر یاور سے جو پرے ہیں. عباس 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 عباس. شام غریبہ میں جس کا کرتا جل گیا ہے کانوں سے بالیاں بھی ہے شمر لے گیا ہے. اس بے کسی سے مولا بچی کوئی نہ ترسے صدقے میں اس کے جس کا گھر بار لٹ گیا ہے. عباس 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 عباس. ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا 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 ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا. مرنا جینا برائے مولا ہے اپنا مقصد عزائے مولا ہے. ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا. دل میں ہو بے علی سمائی ہے خاص سے نعمت خدا سے پائی ہے، ذکر مولا زباں پہ جاری ہے، ذکر مولا زباں پہ جاری ہے، اپنے ماں باپ سے یہ سیکھا ہے، ہم ہیں جنتوں کی فضا میں رہتا ہے، جنتوں کی فضا میں رہتا ہے، دل صدا کربلا میں رہتا ہے، کربلا اے حسین اپنا وطن، کربلا اے حسین اپنا وطن، فاطمہ کی دعا کا سایہ ہے، ہم ہیں ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، ہم مزادار حضرت شبیر جب بھی کرتے ہیں ماتم شبیر، ہم کو زینب دعائیں دیتی ہے، ہم کو زینب دعائیں دیتی ہے، یہ کرم ہم پہ مصطفیٰ کا ہے، ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، اب کسی در پہ آنا جانا کیا، اب کسی در پہ آنا جانا کیا، در پہ غیروں کے سر جھکانا کیا، در پہ غیروں کے سر جھکانا کیا، شہ کا دروازہ مل گیا ہم کو، شہ کا دروازہ مل گیا ہم کو، بس اسی در پہ جینا مرنا ہے، ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، دی پناہ ہے حسین ابن علی، دی پناہ ہے حسین ابن علی، حق نما ہے حسین ابن علی، حق نما ہے حسین ابن علی، سجدائے عشق کا یہ مرکز ہے، سجدائے عشق کا یہ مرکز ہے، اپنا قبلہ تو شہ کا روضہ ہے، ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، شہ کی مظلومیت کا نوح پر ہو، شہ کی مظلومیت کا نوح پر ہو، تم بھی کاظم یہی روا رکھو، ہر گھڑی اے رضا میرے لب پر، ہر گھڑی اے رضا میرے لب پر، شہ کی مظلومیت کا نوح ہے، ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، ہم ہیں دعائے زہرا، یہ غربت علی ہے، 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 یہ غربت علی ہے۔ گو میں ہی تو فاطمہ ہوں پہچاننے سے دنیا انکار کر رہی ہے یہ غربت علی ہے یہ غربت علی ہے یہ غربت علی ہے غربت علی ہے یہ غربت علی ہے سن کر سلام حیدر کوئی نہیں ہے رکتا واجب نہیں سمجھتا کوئی جواب دینا افسوس فاطمہ کی یہ بات جانتی ہے یہ غربت علی 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 کہتی ہے رو کے ظاہرہ جانے نہ دوں گی تنہا پٹ کے میں مرتضیٰ کے ہاتھ سیدہ کا اب ہے کسی کا درہ اور دو خر نبی ہے یہ غربت علی 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 ہے ایک کوچے میں پہنچ گئے دیکھا ہے مجتبی نے ظالم نے ضرب ماری کیسے خدا ہی جانے دیتے نبی زمین پہ خش کھا کے گر پڑی ہے یہ غربت علی 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 ہے پہلو بھی ہے شکستہ ہاتھوں پہ بھی ہے چھالے ہے آپ کی امانت اب آپ کے حوالے یہ کہہ کے مرتضیٰ نے نیا مہدی کو دی ہے یہ غربت علی ہے یہ غربت پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے تربت بھی شکستہ ہے پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے تربت بھی شکستہ ہے کیا حال امت نے کیا حال امت نے زہرا کا بنایا ہے پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے تربت بھی شکستہ ہے پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے تربت بھی شکستہ ہے پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے تربت بھی شکستہ خاتون کوئی ہم سے یوں چور نہیں دیکھی خاتون کوئی غم سے دربار میں ظالم نے کی ایسی پذیرائی دربار میں ظالم نے کی ایسی پذیرائی کس طرح سے ڈوبی تھی پھر لوٹ کے گھر آئی بالوں کی سفیدی نے سب حال سنایا ہے پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے قربہ بھی شکستہ ہے پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے قربہ بھی شکستہ ہے تو ایسے جنازے ہیں تاریخی میں جو تھے دو ایسے جنازے ہیں تاریخی میں جو تھے بس گھر کے ہی لوگوں نے دونوں کو دیے کاندے ایک فاطمہ زہرا ہے ایک بالی سکینہ ہے پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے قربہ بھی شکستہ ہے پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے قربہ بھی شکستہ مہدی سے کوئی پوچھے کیا اس پہ گزرتی ہے مہدی سے کوئی پوچھے کیا اس پہ گزرتی ہے آواز بقیہ سے جب رونے کی آتی ہے آنکھوں سے لہو روکے وہ بھی یہی کہتا ہے پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے قربہ بھی شکستہ ہے پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے قربہ بھی شکستہ ہے یا زہرا یا زہرا اے میری بیوی اے میری بیوی تیرے در پہ استغاثہ ہے تیرا مغرور میری شہزادی ہے جہاں سارا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا تو ہمیں ہند اور امان دے اپنی چادر کا صاحبہ دے دے تیری قدرت میں کیا نہیں بیوی تو جسے چاہے تو جہاں دے دے یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا اے میری بیوی اے میری بیوی آنسوؤں میں دعا مانگی ہے تیری تسبیح پڑھ کے دل نے تجھے پکارا ہے یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا تیرا دربار وہ سخی در ہے ہر فرشتہ جہاں گداگر ہے تیرے مفروض آسماں والے تیرا مفروض ہر سکندر ہے یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا اے میری بیوی اے सारा है या ज़हरा या ज़हरा या ज़हरा या ज़हरा। फर्श मजलिस पे और मुसल्ले पे हर जगह के है रहा है रो रो के। हम रहे ना रहे अगर बीवी का क़यामत रहे गमे सरवर या ज़हरा या ज़हरा या ज़हरा या ज़हरा। ऐ मेरी बीवी ऐ मेरी बीवी तू सफी है तेरे बच्चे भी एक गवाही नहीं गवाही में जग ये सारा है या ज़हरा या ज़हरा या ज़हरा या ज़हरा। क़ल्ब मोमिन से गम जुदा कर दे बस गमे करबला अता कर दे। बेखता क़ैद में है जो मोमिन मौजिज़े से उन्हें रिहा कर दे या ज़हरा या ज़हरा या ज़हरा या ज़हरा या ज़हरा خاص نعمت خدا سے پائی ہے، ذکر مولا زباں پہ جاری ہے، ذکر مولا زباں پہ جاری ہے، ہم نے ماں باپ سے یہ سیکھا ہے.
شاه است حسین، بادشاه است حسین، دین است حسین، این پناه است حسین، سرداد نداد دست در دست یزید، حقا که بنای لا اله است حسین. حسین ہی حسین ہے، 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 حسین ہی حسین ہے.
جہاں میں حق راہ بر حسین ہی حسین ہے،
حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے.
نگر نگر گلی گلی چمن چمن کلی کلی، نگر نگر گلی گلی چمن چمن کلی کلی، چمن چمن کلی کلی، شجر شجر ثمر ثمر حسین ہی حسین ہے،
حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے.
جگہ جگہ یہاں وہاں زمین سے تابہ آسماں، جگہ جگہ یہاں وہاں زمین سے تابہ آسماں، زمین سے تابہ آسماں، جہاں جہاں اٹھی نظر حسین ہی حسین ہے،
حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے.
رگوں میں ہے رچا ہوا دلوں میں ہے بسا ہوا، رگوں میں ہے رچا ہوا دلوں میں ہے بسا ہوا، دلوں میں ہے بسا ہوا، ہر ایک کی زبان پر حسین ہی حسین ہے،
حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے.
نبی کی پشت پاک ہو یا کربلا کی خاک ہو، نبی کی پشت پاک ہو یا کربلا کی خاک ہو، یا کربلا کی خاک ہو، ضرور سجدہ جس کا سر حسین ہی حسین ہے،
حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے.
لٹا کے کربلا میں گھر کٹا رہا ہے اپنا سر، لٹا کے کربلا میں گھر کٹا رہا ہے اپنا سر، کٹا رہا ہے اپنا سر، بقائے دین سر بسر حسین ہی حسین ہے،
حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے.
جہاں تلک خدا خدا وہاں حسین با خدا، جہاں تلک خدا خدا وہاں حسین با خدا، وہاں حسین با خدا، محیط کائنات پر حسین ہی حسین ہے،
حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے.
ہر ایک بن زیاد پر یزید نامراد پر، ہر ایک بن زیاد پر یزید نامراد پر، یزید نامراد پر، وہ چھا گیا ہے جس کا جر حسین ہی حسین ہے،
حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے، حسین ہی حسین ہے.
گو آپ زخم زخم ہے مگر ہر ایک گام پہ، گو آپ زخم زخم
Haki, you got space to take me? You got space to take me? My wife, my daughter, yeah. You sure, okay? You sure? Yeah, I'll come. Okay, is there ziyarat or no?